Okay, we're glad that you're still there. We're going to the drama in Port Harcourt in Rivers State. We always say it's a drama scene 1, scene 2 and all that. So the Supreme Court has dismissed, according to the report, it has dismissed the suit filed by Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, challenging the leadership of the Rivers State House of Assembly under Martin Amaewhule-Led. A 5-man panel led by Justice Agaji ruled on the case, awarding 2 million naira in costs against Fubara payable to the House of Assembly and Amaewhule-Led. The court's decision was based on Fubara's counsel Yusuf Ali withdrawing the appeal. The Rivers Assembly crisis began in 2023 when over 25 lawmakers loyal to former Governor Nyesom Wike defected from the PDP to the APC. This led to a division between the Amaewhule faction and a rival group led by Victor Jumbo, who is loyal to Fubara. Since then, Fubara has worked with the Jumbo-led lawmakers, disregarding Amaewhule's group. The conflict escalated when 2 parallel budgets were passed, adding to the legal disputes. In October 2024, the Court of Appeal in Abuja upheld the Federal High Court ruling that nullified the Rivers State 2024 budget passed by the pro-Fubara lawmakers. The appellate court dismissed Fubara's appeal, citing lack of merit, and declared the presentation and passage of the budget invalid. The Supreme Court's latest ruling further strengthens Amaewhule-Led's claim to the Assembly leadership, deepening the state's ongoing political crisis. To help us make sense to this is Mr. Godswill Jumbo, a publisher of Kristina Reports. Good morning and welcome to the program, Mr. Jumbo.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. My pleasure being here with you to discuss my state again.
Okay, all that that I put out was on paper. What is the true picture? You are an insider, so let us know what is really happening, because we've heard divergent reports. The Fubara camp is giving a different interpretation to the ruling, and the Amaewhule camp is giving a different one. So which one are we supposed to listen to?
Okay, I think to an extent, both camps are making valid points. Given that the Supreme Court actually did not take a position as per yesterday's matter before it, there were 5 issues before it on appeal. And this particular one was deemed to have been overtaken by events, by the influence of time. So there was to continue with the appeal. One was that the budget under review had already elapsed. This is 2025. The budget was for 2024. So whether the governor was to present it again to the Amaewhule-Led Assembly or to the Jumbo-led Assembly, that was no longer of material consequence. So there was a need to set it aside, dismiss it. And it made judicial sense not to waste the time of the Apex Court, to have the Apex Court sit on appeal over an issue that the fluctuation of time has already dealt with. So that was the essence of withdrawing it. And, for the records, the court had to strike it out, dismiss it, so that it is wiped off its record as, not even there in the first place. It's of no use. It's like the Fubara can be saying, it's of academic exercise. But let's also look at what the Amaewhule, camp is saying. The position of the law as it is, given the judgment of Justice Omotosho and the position of the appeal court. So what now happens with the dismissal of that suit, striking it off appeal? So what now happens? Does that now confer legitimacy on the Amaewhule Assembly? Does that now confer legitimacy on the Jumbo-led Assembly? That is unclear as it is. So if the Amaewhule camp are saying that, okay, based on the fact that Justice Omotosho has given a judgment in their favor, upheld by the appeal court, then that should be extant law. Well, for now, it's a bit hazy, but there's some, merit to that position because it's unclear now what now happens. So I think what is there is everybody has to wait for the next set of appeals. One of them actually deals with the rest, the subject matter, the substantive issue of whether presenting the budget to Amaewhule or Jumbo, which of them is legitimate, which of them is in consonance with the extant laws in the country. So we will have to wait. But for now, it is unclear what we have. The appellate court has said the Amaewhule Assembly, what they got from Justice Omotosho, stands. So maybe we could just wait, for that. Then the Fubara camp is saying that there was actually no judgment. It's just striking off the appeal from the record of the Supreme Court because it is of no effect anymore. The year has gone, so is the budget, and then even the expenditure has been done already according to them in the interest of Rivers people. So is that a valid position? We will get to know when we look at the next set of 4 other appeals are before the Supreme Court. One of them deals with the local government issue. Now, remember, one of the appeals also has to do with the legitimacy of the Amaewhule-Led Assembly, in that they all defected, after this issue of the budget came up. They all defected. So do they still, in the eyes of the Nigerian Constitution, in the eyes of every extant law actively existing in Nigeria, do they still constitute membership of the Rivers State House of Assembly? The Supreme Court has yet to say something about that. So we'll find out from one of the appeals that are coming up. So for now, I think everybody should just calm down. Let's just wait. The Apex Court will come up and make the clarification. But for yesterday, in a way, everybody won. The Fubara camp asked their legal representative to withdraw the suit since, according to them, a fraction of time has already dealt with it. He did, and then their request was granted by the Apex Court, striking out the suit. The Amaewhule Assembly are saying, okay, with the dismissal of that suit, that means the position of the appeal court on the issue remains extant. Well, we don't know yet, but maybe there's some, how would I put it, some merit to that line of argument. So in a way, everybody won, but at the end of the day, nothing was actually given to anybody. So everybody just stand where they stand until we hear the next set of appeals. So I think that's the position. But for now, nobody is disturbing anybody. The Rivers State government is going ahead with its, governance activities. The Amaewhule-Led Assembly is also sitting and having a nice day. Well, I think all of that will soon be sorted out when the Apex Court delivers judgment in the next 4 appeals before it.
All right, so I love the fact that you just touched on the Constitution. What does the Nigerian Constitution say about things like this, especially when members have defected into another party? And then what are we going to see with the ruling? So what does this mean for the River State House of Assembly, especially with the fact that there's still more appeals to come? What if it goes in the way that this has already gone, whereby the Amaewhule-Led Assembly is still seen as the legal one, despite whatever our Constitution says?
Okay, let's start with the position of the Constitution. The Constitution is clear. Section 109, subsection G, 1, 2, 3. You see the clear provisions there that when you are elected into a position, especially in the legislative arm, and if you defect from that party that sponsored you to that position while actively serving in that position, automatically you lose that seat.
Yeah.
The Constitution did not make a provision for a judicial review before that is activated. For the makers of the Constitution not to, include a proviso that such action, such decision will be subjected to judicial review, it means the intendment was not even there. Nobody envisaged any need for that. It's just like if you step out of your house and lock the door behind you, can we say you are still inside the house? Do we need to call the community together and decide whether you are inside your house or you are outside your house? I think, that's what the Constitution is saying. But let's also look at this other side. Whatever it is the Constitution has said, once that issue comes before a court of law, then every position has to be in abeyance until the judiciary has made a call on that matter. So that's where we are now. The Fubara-led government of Rivers State has gone to court. The Amaewhule-Led assembly has gone to court. So for now, that's where the convolution is coming up. And in a way, everybody is standing on what they think is their own interpretation of the Constitution. But I'm happy that it has gone all the way to the apex court. And by the time the apex court gives a ruling, all of that will be clarified. Then as to your question, whether what will happen if it goes in the way of the Amaewhule-Led assembly, well, first of all, it will be a reputational issue for the Supreme Court. Will the Supreme Court, being the apex judicial institution in the land, take a position that is contrary to the ground norm of the country? I don't think so. I don't think so. Section 109 of the Constitution is very explicit, it's very clear. And I think the Supreme Court naturally would want to uphold the provision because, if you violate the Constitution, then that is like throwing the whole country into anarchy. It means I could also contest for a House of Assembly or Senate or any other lawmaking position, and then maybe from the first day I get there, I can just defect, and there will be no consequence. So, one, there will be a reputational issue for the Supreme Court to deal with if it goes the way of the Amaewhule-Led assembly. Secondly, it would also create a state of anomaly, a state of chaos. It means anybody can do anything, like we've seen. Why it is not much of an issue, the crowd that is jumping from one party to the left, to the right, to the front, to the back, is because they are not in elective positions as we have now. But there are, presidencies that have been set in Abia State and one of the states, the Cross River, so where the courts held that once you defect from the party that sponsored you to another party while in office, then you lose that seat. So that's already a precedent. Will the Supreme Court uphold that? We would find out in the days to come.
I don't know. So, I don't know about Abia State. I don't know about Abia State, but I don't know the example you are using from Cross River State. I remember that the sitting governor, Ben Ayade, defected from PDP into APC before he left office, and nothing happened. He continued to be governor and ended his tenure. Now the Cross River State is an APC state because of his action. Nothing happened to him. What is the difference between that? Because we've seen also other governors doing the same thing. In fact, when we were talking earlier on, we're giving instances of people who came together in 2013 to make sure that they oust former President Goodluck Jonathan. Some of them were governors, sitting governors, and they left their parties and formed this alliance, and they got what they got. So presidencies that have been set point to the fact that some people have gotten away with it. So what's the difference?
The G5 of 2015. Well, the difference here is, in the case of the G5, there was an issue which is recognized in law, which is if there's a crisis at the national level of the political party, then it creates an environment, it creates an atmosphere for the defection. I can't quite recall the circumstances about the time Ayade defected, but take note that there is a difference between when a governor defects and when House of Assembly members defect. House of Assembly members don't have immunity, don't have the resources, don't have the power dynamics to hold the system together when they defect. But that's not the same for a governor. A governor is like holding the state in his palm. And would you want to take the risk of taking him to court? And by the way, that will also be juxtaposed with the provision of the Constitution granting immunity, from prosecution on the governor. So maybe nobody challenged Ayade in court because, one, maybe they're afraid the governor could deploy maybe the good and bad people of the state in their direction, or they don't have the money to bankroll a judicial tussle with the governor, or maybe there are benefits there, and benefits are dispensed in a way in Nigeria, whether you are in government or out of government. In a way, there's a way you could also be benefiting. People will just think you are in opposition, like in Rivers State. A lot of people who were lining up behind Amaechi were being bankrolled from the opposition, and then they were also, ratting out on Governor Amaechi and undermining him. And then with time, all of that became obvious. So in the case of Ayade, I don't have all the information about what happened in his state, but for the G5 of 2015, there was a crisis in the PDP, which those 5 governors leveraged to move. Now, in the case of the Amaewhule-Led assembly members, there was actually no crisis in the PDP. The PDP has made it clear there was no crisis. What could have caused a crisis did not go ahead, did not succeed, because the other party who were aggrieved, they took the bullets, they beat the bullets, they stuck to the knife, and then they went down, they took it in good faith, so there was no crisis. So when the Amaewhule-Led assembly went to court to depose to an affidavit that there was a crisis in their party, everybody was like, when, where, how? There was no crisis. So that's the intrinsic difference between the situations, and whether you like it or not, that's the reality of the Nigerian political space.
Okay, well, I don't know what else to say. Well, let's hope that the Constitution will be interpreted well, because, like I said, a lot of people will say things have happened, people have done it and gotten away with it, and that's why what is happening is happening. But to finalize it, do you think what is happening in the PDP could not be capitalized on to say that that is what had started that made them to defect to another party? Because right now it seems like the PDP is in disarray.
Okay, we won't be able to say that, because what is happening now. As at the time, December last year, when they defected, and there was nothing of such. You get, there was no
December last year.
National cleavage. Year before last, December 2023. Now, as at that time, there was no national cleavage. There was no breakaway. There is no, even what is happening now cannot, it can't also be referred to as a national crisis in the PDP, because nobody is like saying, no, I won't come for meeting, I won't do this. A bunch of disgruntled politicians engaging in cat fights, that kind of fights that two hens or two cocks, do in the village early in the morning to determine who is the superior person in the village, in the community, before the day starts. So 2 politicians, 3 politicians doing that at the party secretariat on the side cannot be referred to as a national crisis for the political party. So it doesn't apply. But in closing, I think it's fine. We need to appreciate both camps for showing the equanimity, showing the respect for the rule of law. There are, in another situation, maybe the guns would have been, going off, and then bombs here and there, buildings and all of that. But in a way, this has not happened. And I think we need to especially also commend the governor for being able to hold everybody together, both foes and friends, and be able to carry everybody. And Rivers State is better off for it.
Thank you, Jumbo.
Let's accord them. Let's give them their flowers.
Thank you, Jumbo. It's
so
always
much.
nice to have you, and it's good that we're looking. We're looking towards the coming days to see what those appeals will be like, and we wish Rivers State people well. Thank you so much for coming on our show this morning.
Thank you for the opportunity again.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Until we meet again.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't get to know her name.
Rume.
My name is Rume.
Rume.
Oh, okay. Good morning.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay, we've been talking with Godswill Jumbo publisher Kristina Reports, and that is, we were looking at River State and what is happening there right now. So in the coming days, we'll hear more about the appeals that are before the court, and we can know for sure what is really happening. For now, like he said, both parties are right in their own way. But let's see what the coming days will be like. And this is eventually where we wrap it up on the show this morning. But before we do that, let me give a shout out to Jide, one of our MCR guys. Like Chris said, we don't give enough praises to these people who do the work at the background. And today is his birthday. He turns 40 today. Jide, from all of us, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you, Jide.
And tomorrow will be Peter Piper's birthday as well. In case we forget, because some of our brains are old, happy birthday in advance,
Happy
Mr.
birthday.
Peter Piper, a reliable guest that we've always been having on the show.
All right, this is where we have to wrap it up on the show today. Thank you so much for having a breakfast with us. My name is Rume. Paulson, I'll see you again.
And I am Nyamgul Agaji. Bye for now.
Have a wonderful day. Good morning.